Happy Friday, everyone. It's Ruth-Ann live streaming from my art gallery in Solana Beach, and we are open. We're very excited. We are wearing masks, although I'm social distancing at the moment. But it's really an exciting time for us because we've starting to see people coming out, walking on the street. And I'll tell you what, as a gallerist, there's nothing better after 3 months of completely being shut down. Having folks come in the gallery, looking at artwork, it's a big thrill. So it's just a great day, great Friday. So today I have an amazing artist, another great artist coming on from Hawaii. He is live streaming from his studio, and he is one of the most important artists in Hawaii. He's really one of those artists that has actually created a whole trend of artists working on metal. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we get going. But I wanted to start out the show just showing a little bit of his work. And I'm going to bring this up into the stream so you can see. This is actually how he's going to talk to us about it, but this is how he actually does the work, is routing metal. And it's a really interesting technique. I've seen the live videos, but it's really something. And then I'm going to show you another one here, if I can learn how to do this. Here's Dennis at work again. And again, I'll have him narrate a little bit, but you can see he's working right on metal with these amazing tools. And then we've got another one here that I'm going to show on the stream. Oh, I think this is just a great imagination piece of Dennis. So without further ado, let me see if I can get Dennis on the show here. Hey, Dennis, welcome to Art of the City. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's funny to see those photos, Ruth-Ann, but thanks for having me. This is fun.
Well, you know, I'm learning the technology here. I was successful in loading a video in the last episode that I did on Monday. And I'm just so thrilled to have you here because I don't know, we've got a lot of people viewing right now, but I don't know if people are really aware of the fact that you really started this whole movement in art with using metal, because you've been doing this for quite a long time.
Yeah, it's I can't honestly say that I began the whole trend of working on metal, but the art form goes way back into the 1930s, even in some preliminary designs where people were grinding or carving and making dimensional images into aluminum or metals and using that as their actual foundation. The trend, though, lately is because when I started in Lahaina on Front Street, people started seeing more of that type of metal art. I can remember days 25 years ago when people would say, I've never seen anything like this. And they were just shocked at the way the metal moved and the lighting and all that. And the trend just became more contemporary. And other artists saw that, other galleries saw it, and everybody kind of started developing their own versions of that type of thing. And it's kind of fun to still see it going strong today. But now to go into any art gallery, you're going to see some type of metal art. You'll see.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I think I first saw your work maybe 20 years ago in Diamond Head Gallery, and you were doing these incredible jellyfish. And I was amazed at how the light refracted off of the metal. And then it wasn't too much longer after that, I saw all these artists kind of come on the scene trying to capture what you'd done. And I think that makes you really a trendsetter, and you should be proud of that.
Well, thank you. But I also was a teacher. So in that being said, that, I mean, I was working with the Nesty Wada, the Airbrush companies, the spray gun companies, because I was at that time in my life a custom painter. We had a shop called Cosmic Airbrush. We were painting all the Harleys. We were in Hawaii. We were the Harley Davidson painters. And so we serviced and did all that. We had other artists that were working in our studio. And at one peak of a point, we were painting 5,000 to 6,000 motorcycle parts a year. So
Wow.
metal was just part of the
So you
whole.
were the one to go to if you had a Harley.
Yeah, and well, plus we knew it. You know, we understood the Harleys. The customers trusted us. I mean, you want to have a guy paint your bike that has painted other bikes. You know, not just this is the first bike he's ever going to paint, but we had painted thousands, so people trusted us. And in any small community like Hawaii, you know, you want to trust somebody you can go back to, and so we did real well with that. But it's in that sense, even when we got into the art galleries, and I was teaching out on the field with Iwata, going around the world. I mean, Europe, Asia, and teaching people how to use an airbrush. And in my classes, I'm a Hawaii artist, so they're like, "Well, you know, what are you going to teach us?" I'm like, "Well, today we're going to paint a jellyfish." So you know, you go and you go around the world and you show thousands of people how to paint jellyfish, and you're going to see more of them in the marketplace, I guess. You know, so that's.
I'm sure that was part of it, but also I just think that people, you know, artists are always pulling from each other. And I think you couldn't help but when you walked into the gallery where your work was hanging, it was the thing that really immediately drew you in. And it was just the way that you were able to create that lighting. I feel like that was a really big part of it. How did this all start for you? I mean, how did you start out as an artist?
Well, you know, some people are taught art. They go to school, they have a knack for it, like music. And other people are born to it. I mean, it's almost like a curse in you, where, you know, you have that passion inside of you where it's all you want to do. And I was that type of artist. I mean, as a child growing up, I spent hours. I mean, if I had a hard time doing my homework because I wanted to draw. I mean, I was into more like listening to records and just I could draw for hours, and it always entertained me. It kept me busy. One day when we moved to Las Vegas at one point in the early 70s, I saw someone airbrushing. And they had this little instrument in their hand, and they were drawing with it, and they were painting like unicorns and rainbows, and it was the 70s. And I was
Right.
like, that's so cool. I could do that. So I wanted an airbrush. And so I think it was like my 13th birthday. And my folks got me an airbrush, took me down. I had no idea that that tool would carry me through the rest of my life. And what it
Wow.
allowed me to do was different things that other artists weren't doing. I remember going to school, high school, going to art class, and no one knew what an airbrush was. And I was in class studies where, I mean, I'm painting with fades and the three-dimensionality of that tool, and it just gave me that advantage, and I could see people liked it. It's
And
what drew the other
And you
things.
were doing the t-shirts then, or that was later?
No, in the beginning, I just did anything. I mean, I think the
Okay.
first thing I ever painted on a piece of paper was with India ink and an airbrush, was a Rolling Stones tongue. And I just
That's cool.
there. And next thing you know, we were painting. There was a trend, if you can remember, where they were dyeing, bleaching jean jackets and pants. And then they were painting like city scenes on it. And being in Las Vegas, I got orders, you know, being 14 years old, to do like a painting on a denim jacket. You know, that was pretty good money at 14. To get $50 was amazing.
Yeah,
And so
it
I did
is.
that. And then the t-shirts, because I had the ability to use the tool and seeing the rat hole chain where the t-shirts were being done on the strip, one day I went down to watch that artist paint, and she was going, "What happened to Donna?" And like, "Oh, well, she moved back to Florida. You do airbrush, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Would you like the job?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, sure." So I got up and auditioned, and I was really lousy. You know, I mean, I wasn't ready for that kind of stage presence, but I practiced, and I went in every day, and that was 1974.
So this has been like a lifelong pursuit for you, and it just came innate as a child. And then when did you move to Hawaii?
1981, I came to Hawaii, and it started out because of a t-shirt operation in the Woolworth chain. You remember W. Woolworths? And
Yeah.
we had locked up a deal with them in Las Vegas during the Christmas holidays to airbrush shirts. It was a busy time for us to do shirts. We couldn't paint any more than we did. And so we went back down to Florida to work for Big Daddy Rat, my friend. And while we were in Florida, his stepfather happened to be Air Force and got relocated to Air Force Base. And
Okay.
so he flew out to Hawaii, checked it out, and said, hey, there's a Woolworths in Waikiki. So ironically, I'm like, well, let's write him a letter. This is before email and everything. So I took Polaroid pictures of some Airbrush shirts, sent a snail mail letter off to Hawaii Woolworths, and asked them if they would be interested. Ironically, the manager of the Woolworths store in Waikiki happened to be the same manager had been transferred from. And so he knew us. And he was like, oh, wow, you were the guys. Yeah, sure, let's do it. And the rest is history.
Wow, that's some good serendipity.
Yeah, we grew to 9 Airbrush t-shirt stores, did all the carnivals, all the fairs, came the Hawaii trend of Airbrush shirts, and then it eventually burned out. We went into other things and carried on into the motorcycle thing and such.
And then after we're getting the timeline. So it started out with the t-shirts, and then you got into the motorcycles. And then when did it go into creating art, that you got that vision that, okay, I can now take all that skill that you had learned and all that hard work, because I can just imagine going from, one show to Woolworths and all of that. That had to be a lot of work. And then now you decide, okay, I think I can actually become an artist for galleries.
Well, it kind of happened on its own. If people say, how do you become a fine artist? I don't know how you become one. I think it just kind of happened. And
Right.
what was going on was we were pretty busy, and we were very blessed to be doing as many things as we were, very content with our Cosmic Airbrush shop. And we had a 3-month waiting list to get a motorcycle paint.
Boy.
And so we were like, why would we want to stop that and go into fine art where all these artists are painting things, hanging them on the wall, and then waiting for someone to buy them? I'm like, I don't have time for that. We have orders now,
Right.
So I continued to just do that. And I knew fine artists. I was working with Christian Lassen. We knew Weiland. We knew all the big guys that were doing that. And they all asked me the same question. Dennis, why aren't you doing anything for galleries? And I'm like, man, I'm blessed. You guys got your thing, I got my thing, and we're busy. I'm just being an artist, and I'm happy to be busy. I'm giving 7 to 9 people a job being an artist, and we were content where we were. And then one day, Kent Unterman, who owns Pictures Plus here in Hawaii, came up to me and said, saw some things I was having scanned at Chromaco, the local art scanner here, for SEMA show in Las Vegas for Iwata. It was a big catalog cover they needed. And it was this large hot rod tiki metal painting I did, all ground bamboo, and pretty cool. And he walked in, saw it on the wall, they were scanning it, and he said, who the heck did this? And they go, well, Dennis, everyone knew Dennis. He's like, you're kidding, the Cosmic guy did this? And so he called me down there, and he was opening up that Diamond Head Gallery in Lahaina, and said, would you be willing to try it? And I'm like, gallery schmallery,
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
Dennis, you should think about this. Go just try a couple pieces and see how it goes. I'm like, okay. So I put a few pieces together, maybe 10, and to launch, see how it would work in the gallery. And they were all hot rod tiki, little scully guys. So very edgy, very contemporary, all on metal. Nothing like that anywhere in Front Street. And so when they put it in the gallery staff, we had our little first meeting, and I could see them all rolling their eyes, going, he's an airbrush guy. Skulls and hot rods. Oh my, this is never going to work.
Right.
But the truth was, it was so new and fresh. And the people, the clientele that were walking into art galleries now are my age. I'm 60.
Right. And also fun. That was the other thing, with the tikis, is that it was really, I think looking at it, it was really a lot of fun as well to see it.
Yeah, it was happy. And, here you got a seascape, a turtle, a dolphin, a seascape, a turtle, a dolphin. And then what's this guy with this little hot rod with the headlights and a scope? Where'd this come from, right? But the thing is, the professionals, like a doctor would come in, he's on vacation in Hawaii, he's got a heart back home.
Right.
Rides a motorcycle on weekends, and he just locked in on my stuff right away. And it was pretty amazing how it was accepted. And we went from wine and cheese on Friday night to beer and pretzels real fast.
Well, I think too, one of the things that your art allowed is it allowed people to look at art from a different perspective, because you really, your style lends itself to people who maybe they don't want a painting of Monet. Maybe they want something they can relate with, which is who they are, their actual personality. And that was what I got when we had your artwork in our gallery, is people who maybe felt like they didn't understand art connected with your artwork because you didn't care about that. You were just about creating these images that you really liked, and then it resonated with other people. And you kind of went out on a limb to do that, but I think it's brilliant. People really, first thing I always saw is a big smile on people's face.
Yeah, a lot of the art is fun. It's all very positive. I paint from my heart. I paint from experiences. A lot of the tiki characters that I paint are not religious or anything heavy like that. I tiki-fy my friends. I mean, there's a
Right.
motorcycle. They're both tikis. But I know the people that actually look just like that, they're neighbors. And that's how I kind of vision the whole thing. I tiki-fy my friends, my family, my coworkers, and I put them into stories that are happy stories about Hawaii. I'm a Hawaii artist. All the tiki stuff is very positive in that way. And the interesting thing is the other side of my art, where that's fun stuff that is like, people don't have that extra living room anymore. They have game rooms or computer
Right.
rooms. And
Very
so
true.
they fit in those fun areas. There's still the decorative side of art, and where people need something that just looks right in a hallway, or they're not in a fun look. And what's interesting is my stuff, I remember one day in the gallery, there's this ground metal bamboo piece I did. And the background is all metal, and then the image inside of it is a tiki, and he's got torches and fire and all that. And I remember a woman saying to me, "God, I just really love this piece. I just wish you didn't paint that damn tiki. I just like the metal." And I'm like,
I knew where this was going because we had some of your bamboo pieces, and they're
yeah.
just absolutely gorgeous.
And so I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if the art, the metal art, can carry itself on its own. And this is 20 years ago.
Right.
Well, I'll try a couple. And it did, because now I had a different collector. I didn't have the fun, hot rod, edgy kind of collector.
Yeah, you kind of moved away from the kitsch on that one, because the tikis are kind of kitschy, but they're cool and fun, and people just loved, and they love to collect more than one. And then I noticed that there's a whole nother collector that likes the bamboo and also the sea life, all those nature pieces that you do.
I remember when we were doing the metal bamboo pieces back, I said, try something a little different, and I know it's going to work well. I'm going to
Right.
I couldn't keep up with bamboo and the flowers and the palms I was doing, and they're all tropical flora images, and that was what people were starting to get. But I remember the first wave actually did the water wave break. I brought it into the gallery and said, these are going to really do well. I mean, I couldn't keep up with them, and that was probably the biggest trendsetter I saw when the other galleries started saying, hey, we need an artist that can do metal waves in our gallery. And so I saw this little flourish of little waterways everywhere. And it's kind of neat to know that you actually kickstarted that kind of thing, and different versions of it. But it's the waves to this day. Now the copper pieces and the dishes that I'm doing, the convex bowls, are just mesmerizing, because after doing 2,500 original carvings in these metals,
How many? Oh my gosh.
I'm finally getting good at it. No, yeah. It's
2,500 of the waves you've done?
2,500. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And those, I would have to say, of all the work, those are the great masterpieces, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And they get a lot more heart and soul in them now, because what it was is, in the beginning, if I look back at the first wave, I'm like, boy, I can do so much more now, because in any art form, the more you do it, the more natural things come to you. I'm not trying to reach, I'm not trying to focus. It's just that I know by doing this move, going this direction at this cut, I'm going to get that final result. It's retaining all those little tricks of 25 pieces, that now the pieces have all that element in them. So even though you can't see the final art until the finish goes on it, I can vision, I know if I do this and I do that, how it's going to trick. And so now the pieces that go up, they just really, really pop.
Well, do you happen to have anything in your studio we could see? I tried my best to put up some of those images, but do you have anything maybe we can see that you're working on?
Well, I got one piece here. Let me grab that one from the back.
Okay, I'm going to minimize my screen here. And folks, thank you for your patience. We just started our 25-year anniversary warehouse sale, so we got a lot of people coming in today. But let's see. Oh wow, Dennis, that's amazing.
Yeah, these are koi fish, and of course, there's no color in it besides the gold tones. But as you can see it move around in the lighting, it changes all of the values, and it gives it that kind of graphic magic to it. And what happens is, basically, it starts out just in raw metal like this. You can kind of see how it refracts the light. It's this is just raw aluminum, and then I can colorize it like this. Remember, you've seen my water pieces. So, but in the background is that metal refraction, and so these pieces will probably end up getting something like a jellyfish on it. You can kind of vision that. In some of my earlier pieces, that's where the jellyfishes would be painted into it. In the background was the metal. But these other pieces.
Dennis, just real quick, in your process, I know you use the raw metal, and then you're using almost like, are you using jewelers engraving tools, or how are you creating the texture within the actual metal itself?
Well, it starts out on a piece of marine grade aluminum, and I choose that because it's a softer aluminum than aircraft. It's really not, aircraft aluminum is too hard to carve on, even though it's lighter. But I use a softer metal, and the tools that I've selected over time, it's been kind of an evolution. It started off with a large grinding wheel like you saw in those pictures in the beginning. And it's a grinder wheel with an abrasive disc on it, and they make them in different textures, some more coarse, some not as coarse. And I bounced back and forth. Then I found other tools on different sizes, from small all the way down to, say, dental style, up to 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. And then there's a Dremel, and then there's wire brushes. I think it all gets kind of all over the map then. And it's all that, when I say the evolution of it, is when I found in some of the early pieces, like, wow, this tool only does this one thing. I can find that this wheel on this Dremel, this brush, will only do the palm tree coconuts. That's all it's good for. Remember,
interesting.
And then I have that tool when I need it. And so I lay all the tools on the table and I grab them and start spinning around. The other thing is, I found out if I turn the wheels all clockwise, most rotary tools spin clockwise. I have reversed the motors on a couple of them, so now I get ones that go counterclockwise. And wherever I have a cut that grinds in clockwise and I conflict it with a counterclockwise cut, man, it just jumps right off the surface.
So this has just been, years of trial and error and taking all these tools, kind of like a painter would, and you've figured out how to dial those in so that you really now probably don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I don't. And I kind of, I still go into tool stores though, and I'm still looking like, oh, I wonder what this would do. I got
Great.
nothing, but I bought it anyway to try it because I thought maybe it might do this. And then, funny is I'll still go back to that box and have that one wheel in it from 10 years ago. And now I figured out what it can do because I found a place. I remembered what it tried to do. And so some of them are really loud tools. My wife screams at me sometimes like, hey, screaming. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I'm trying to develop tools that don't make as much noise. The other thing is I don't know if you're aware, but last year I had to have surgery on my hand. I had actually destroyed the tendons in this hand from all the grinders.
I did not know that.
And I had to have reconstruction tendon surgery in this hand. I was actually out of work for 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
Again, because they redesigned. Now I'm the $6 million man, so I can do more metal.
I bet you were concerned because this is what you do for a living, and I know with a lot of the artists I talk to, they have their hands insured, and I thought, wow, that's an interesting concept. But if you're feeding your family of 4 and you're a successful artist, you need your hands.
Yeah, your hands and your eyes. Those are
it.
2 most important things, I mean, I can sit all day and paint, but it's the basic.
So, Dennis, have you done anything? I love your koi fish, by the way. I've never seen your koi fish before. I don't think I have any. I think maybe I did see a small one, but nothing like that. What things are you pushing towards as far as subject matter? Is there anything new that's on the horizon for people to look out for?
Yeah, well, actually, before this interview started, I spent, we've been locked up for, a couple months. And actually, foreign artists, they want to be locked up.
Right.
I'm like isolation and I'm in the zone. Hey, I'll get back to you. And so at first I kind of started, I had a couple commissions to catch up on and all that. And that's fine. There was a couple big, large jellyfish pieces I had to do, which I got those finished. But then I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? The galleries are not really open. I mean, they're opening just now. So what do I want to come back with? And what do I want to try? Well, my last trip last year for SEMA show, I went to, that's the big, large car show in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to mention SEMA is the big, where all the cars are, right?
Yeah, and I was down there and I took a lot of hot rod shots of, I took my good camera equipment. I also went out to that lion habitat that they have in Las Vegas.
Yes, I've heard about it. I haven't been there.
Incredible, and got a private tour and was allowed to photograph all those cats. And so I got incredible shots of those lions, and I'm using them now.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I left there, Ruth-Ann, and came down to San Diego on my way back to Honolulu. And when the zoo opening, right the second it opened in the morning, and ran back to the tiger area. And I got some awesome tiger shots and jaguar shots. And I mean, there wasn't anybody there yet, and they had just fed these cats. And so during the year, the galleries were keeping me so busy trying to keep up with the surfboards and the waves and the things that are kind of unknown for. I didn't have any time to really dedicate to these really intense paintings. So I've got several large copper pieces that I'm going to do all these cats on.
Anything we can see? Have you started anything?
Oh, not really. They're only in the sense of photographs right now,
Okay.
But I don't know how I could send that to you. I could send you one of the pictures of the tiger I'm going to start. You want to see that?
Oh, well, we'll look forward because I definitely want to have you on the show again, especially when, I'm getting this whole studio a little bit more dialed in. And, right now the gallery today kind of just opened. So you've got all this background noise. But one of the things I wanted to share with folks, I'll bring myself back up on the screen here, is that, there's certain artists, if you go to Hawaii, which is tough to do right now, so we're kind of virtually going there to Dennis's studio. But one of the things about Hawaii is there are certain artists in the islands, because I lived there for a while, that definitely are kind of the top tier artists. And Dennis, I would say that you are one of those for sure. And it's because of the technique, it's because of the subject matter, but I think the main thing is that you have such a broad range. You have the ability to do very kitschy, fun, your tiki guys and these cars, and then it switches to these beautiful waves that are unbelievable. I remember, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I had a collector come in and buy a triptych of your waves, and he was moving from San Diego to Las Vegas. And the reason why he bought those waves is he said, well, I'm moving away from the coast, but I'm bringing the coast with me so I can see it every day. And then you do these nature pieces, and now I'm hearing about these tigers. You're kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, I get bored of painting the same thing all the time. It's kind of, I think, the sense of being a commercial artist for many years is, I think back to the Harley days and how many eagles I had to paint on motorcycle tanks. And, after a while, you're kind of like, well, eagles for me. But back then, that's what I had to do. So today, I'm like, oh, I love my tiki art. I mean, it's fun. It makes me smile while I'm doing it. And I also actually, what I am working on right now is a tiki hot rod scene. I'll quickly show it to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we see it? Let me minimize my screen again here.
And as you can see, not anything too detailed yet. It's just, I got my car on it, I got my HUD on it, and I'm just starting now to add in the characters, which will be a tiki that'll be driving it. So this is a fun piece. But then right behind that, I got the tigers and the jaguars kind of all penciled out, and they're going to go in. But my work, I have to work it in like multitasking, because the process of the metal stuff is, it goes to go through different levels. I might only work on it a half an hour in one day, but then it needs to dry. So I kind of keep multiple projects going on that way.
How do you get your brain to shift from subject matter? So you're working on one piece, right? And then all of a sudden you shift to, from maybe like the koi fish to the tikis to something. And I know you do these in different stages. How do you get your brain to be able to do that?
It's funny. I have an endless reference in my head, and like people say, how do you come up with these ideas? I'm like, wow, I have thousands of ideas in my head, and I can't think of how many times I say to myself, I still want to paint all these poker players underwater at a table with the turtle with his shell off, and he's bedding it, and he's got on a skinny tank top, and there's a shark with his teeth out, and it's like a poker scene. I still haven't got to that painting yet. And now I'm busy doing these and I'm doing those, and I get inspired in other things, but I'm hoping someday I get to those other thoughts. But in the gallery business, being a professional, we need to also take care of our galleries. Meaning, I know the staff will be like, well, Dennis, we need more waves. We sold your 3 waves. We need a wave. Okay.
Right.
My turtles are another big seller for me. And, I have a hard time feeling inspired to paint another turtle, but every once in a while I'll go scuba diving and be with one underwater and get some great GoPro shots. And now I want to paint them. And then I get back.
You have the emotional connection then.
Yeah. And I feel there's a certain purity on using my own photograph. When I say, okay, I was swimming in, Kahana Bay with this turtle, and I have a picture of him. Now I'm painting him. Now I've painted it. I was with the turtle. I took the photo. I painted him. There's a purity of a piece of art because the artist had the experience with it. And same with, I actually was with those animals. So in my mind, the photograph is a great reference, a tool for that, but it's the vision of being there with it that you remember how it looked. And when you're painting it, you want that emotion in your work. The photograph can't carry it. You had to be there. So that's what inspired.
And that is why people respond, they react to your work when they walk in the gallery, is because of that. And the other thing is, I've met a lot of artists in my day, but I will tell you one thing that's always stood out when I've, talked to you or I've seen your work, is that you are an absolute perfectionist.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing goes out of your studio unless it is 100% dialed in. And I'm sure you know that about yourself, but that's what I've seen.
Well, I was trained, I have to say I'm a self-taught artist in that sense, but I was trained by my customers. And if you remember when I said we had all the Harley Davidsons to paint, you think about it. Guy comes in and says, I want an eagle painted on my motorcycle tank, and I want this. I'm like, okay, well, he's coming to me. There's a lot of guys that can paint that eagle on that tank, but he's coming to me because he feels I'm the best. And we weren't the cheapest by far. So I'm honored that he's willing to pay our price to put it on there. So when I go to approach it, I'm going to do the best job I can. Here's the trick, though, Ruth-Ann, is now I've painted this eagle on the side of the motorcycle tank. Well, there's the other side of the motorcycle tank.
Oh, boy.
So I get to paint it twice. So now I have to make both sides look the same. Even though you physically can't see them at the same time, the motorcycle tanks are two pieces when he picks them up. So they're side by side. So what a great way to learn discipline to make something accurate. Everything had to be small. So in my paintings, when you look at the little tiki characters and the hot rods, there's every little detail of brush work, airbrush work. I just can't turn it off. I want it to be.
No, and that's what makes your work so incredible. And folks, you kind of have to see it in person. We're doing our best to show you, and I have his website. You can go on there and see it, but there's nothing like really taking it in if you can see it in person. And now, where are you showing? I know with the COVID thing, we didn't really talk about that. How's that affected the galleries you're in Hawaii right now?
Well, it's affected all of Hawaii, and not just our galleries, but all of like Front Street and Lahaina. All the galleries are closed, and the restaurants, as of today, are allowed to open back up with limitations. So with the restaurants open, we're hoping that people will start walking around a little bit. So the galleries will start to open back up. For example, our Oahu gallery, Wise Gallery, which is Bill Weiland's son, Brian, he's open Friday, Saturday, and Sundays right now.
Okay.
Just no following because we don't have any tourists. We're talking local economy.
Right.
We have military. We have a lot of local economy, and fortunately for me,
and are they still requiring quarantine if you fly to Hawaii? Do you have to wait for a week or something? You do?
Yeah, you actually have to. The law is if you come to Hawaii from anywhere, even island to island, the locals, it's 14-day mandatory quarantine. You cannot leave your hotel room for 14 days. Except
that's more than I get for a vacation.
Yeah. Okay, well, if
my vacation is well over by then.
Yeah. They think if I'm going to be quarantined, I might as well be in Hawaii. But when they get here, they can't even leave their hotel room, or they'll be arrested. So now the hotels are monitoring, the state's monitoring people that go under quarantine. And if they leave their hotel rooms, they chase them down. Oh, it's just crazy.
Boy.
And so they're going to release the local quarantine, which is, I believe, on June 16th, we can now fly island to island. So, it means we can.
Well, let's hope that shakes loose soon. But you show at Wise Gallery in Haleiwa, right, on the North Shore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right then you're in Weiland in Maui.
Yeah, I'm in Bill Weiland's gallery on Maui in Front Street.
Right.
Bill carries the most of my work. I've been Diamond Head Gallery was there 20 years ago, is now gone. So Bill opened up. Bill also has a gallery in the Wailea Shopping Center.
I didn't know that. Okay. And then you're also in Ocean Blue in Florida. I remember you
Right.
saying that because I want people to know where they can go check out folks' websites to find your work. You know, and I know a lot of people like to research the artists that are on here.
Yeah, and Florida is like a Hawaii parallel in a sense. So, my work is very tropical down there, and a lot of us kind of Hawaii type artists do rather well in Florida. So, I'm in
Yeah.
Ocean Blue in St. Petersburg, and Ocean Blue in Winter Park, which is Orlando area. And,
Got it. Okay.
those two
So, and you're on your website. If folks see something on your website and they fall in love with that, can they contact then? Does it show where the artwork's at?
Yeah, my website, if you just look under DennisMathewsonArt.com, you'll see all the little buttons at the top of the screen, and there'll be one that says new releases, and that'll show you exactly all the inventory of originals and where they're
Okay.
located and who you can contact to purchase it and some details about it. And the last location I have, which is on the Big Island of Hawaii, is at Genesis Gallery, which is Vera Kirkpatrick's gallery. And
Okay, great.
my only 5
I'm hoping that we are all getting back to normal within the next few months because I'd love to come over and see you, come over to Maui. And now, where's your studio? Are you on Oahu or on Maui?
I'm on Oahu. I'm in
Okay,
Honolulu.
I thought so. Okay. Yeah, I lived there for a while, as you know, so I can't wait to come back. But right now, we're all going to be, we're going to stay where we are until everything lifts, for sure.
Yeah, we're hoping things just get back on track this winter. It should be okay. And, summer is kind of a strain. But artists, we're all, I think, just busy painting. It's something at least we get able to get caught up and do some art pieces like these wildlife, these animals that I want to do, the cats. I really want to spend time on them, and at least I'll have that opportunity to dedicate to it. And then it'll be fun to kind of come back with some really important pieces.
Well, I can't wait to see your new, I think the animal series is going to be amazing because I've seen your turtles and the other things. And I know you're a perfectionist, so you're not going to put those in galleries till they're absolutely perfect the way that you always do everything. But I'll look forward to seeing you soon in Hawaii. And then if this, for some reason, hopefully not, continues on and on, we'll have you back on the show in a couple more weeks or whenever those are ready so we can view those.
Great.
It'd be great. But thank you, Dennis, for being on today. I apologize for the background noise. We're trying to get things up and going here. And next time we'll have a little quieter studio so we can have a little bit more intimacy. But I really appreciate you being on. And I ask all of you folks watching, go to Dennis's website. We have it streaming. Check out his work and, support the arts. Even people who are locked down right now, we still appreciate all the feedback. So maybe leave some comments. It'd be great. But thanks again, Dennis.
It's been a fun time. I look forward to doing it again, Ruth-Ann. And just stay in touch with me, okay?
Okay, I sure will. And give my love to your family.
Okay, you too.
Okay,
Hello.
take care. Bye. Okay, folks, a little bit of a crazy Friday. We've got people coming in and out, but that was Dennis Mathewson. He is a good friend of mine and one of the most phenomenal artists from the island. So check out his website. Next week, we have 3 artists coming in live streaming, and I'll have the list of those. Right now, I'd love to invite you to come down to our gallery. We are open all weekend from noon to 5. We have cleared out, I think I mentioned, our warehouse. We have artwork all around here and some very good values on only artists that we are no longer carrying. So we have the artists that we're carrying, like Michael Floor. You can come take a look at the new work that he's bringing in, but none of that is, we don't have any specials on those things because we're carrying them all the time. But I'll look forward to seeing you next week, Monday, live streaming here. Please share this with your friends. Come see us. We've got straws for wine, bottles of water, and we'd love to see you down here. So have a great weekend. Live streaming Art of the City. Tell your friends, and I'll see you Monday.